Good afternoon, everybody. This is Underground Noise Podcast, webisode number 7, I think. I'm here with Kreishloff, Lofgren from the band called Lecherous, Nocturne. Welcome, Chris. How's it going, bro?
How's it going, man? Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. I'm doing great. Thanks. First off, I'd like to ask you, who are your musical influences?
It's a long list, but to kind of sum it up, early thrash metal, the greats: Metallica, Testament, Anthrax, Slayer, Exodus, Annihilator, all the greats, in my humble opinion. There's a ton more, but that kind of led me into early 90s, late 80s death metal, Cannibal Corpse, the Napalm Death, early Deicide, Obituary, that kind of stuff for sure. Cryptopsy, another big one, Immolation, Gore Guts, Marduk, some dark funeral. There's a bunch of black metal that I get into, and some grindcore, but some punk, The Exploited, Minor Threat. So I think it's not very vast or not very unique by any means, but it seems to make good death metal.
Yeah, you guys sound really good. For some of you people who don't know who Lecherous Nocturne are, they're an American death metal band. They're extremely brutal, and they're really, really catchy, in my opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Keeps my head banging big time. So gotta keep up with the. I seen your video called.
The middle of. Go ahead.
I seen your video for Planet of the Crossing from last year. That's an intense video.
Man, we got lucky with that one. That was a old machine shop that was getting ready to kind of move out into a more advanced and clean and modern location. So we kind of got lucky with those big lathes and all this equipment that I'm not familiar with by any means, but it made for a cool video shoot. That's for sure. Give props to some of our friends out there that definitely helped that make that happen. But generally doing videos and stuff, the biggest problem is finding where to do it, and what you're gonna do and all this. So that was pretty clean sailing, really. Kind of walked in and started playing guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, is there anywhere in the world that you haven't toured that you've always wanted to tour, and why?
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. We've only toured North America, pretty much. We've never been to South America. We've never been to Europe. We've never been to any of these locations. For one reason or the other, over the years, it's been very difficult for Lecherous to make it anywhere outside of the United States. It's a good thing though, because I didn't get into this to be it's not a popularity contest for me at all, but at the same time, it'd be nice to be able to tour some of these places, and we have fans in these areas, and I'm sure they'd like to see us as well.
From all the songs that your band Lecherous has written, which one did you find the most difficult to play, and why?
Well, pretty much any song that I didn't directly write myself, I find to be more difficult. When I have to learn riffs from Ethan or our past musicians in the band, like Kreishloff and some other guys that I've had the pleasure of playing with over the years, that's been more difficult to learn their material always, even if it is maybe a little bit basic when you break it down and all that. It's still hard because I'm not a trained musician. I've never I don't read music, and the guys in the band do, so I'm kind of like the lame duck, you know what I mean? But really, to sum it up, probably Planet of the Crossing was very difficult. Ethan wrote that front to back. I had very little influence on the song, a riff or two maybe. And songs like that I find to be very difficult, is when I have to learn and capture someone else's idea entirely. It's difficult for me.
I totally understand that. For me personally, I write pretty simple stuff myself, but it gets out there.
you know how it can be, man. You know, just because you can see it, hear it, and all that, getting it under the fingers and in your brain, that's the challenge.
That's basically it. Once you have that idea, you want to get it out there, just record it, then work on it some more later on, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm kind of new to the recording thing. I'm, pretty old school. We used to hash out all the material, learn it as you went. This recording, get an idea and recording it is a complete luxury that I'm just now getting used to, really. So it's fantastic, but at the same time, I kind of miss burning those notes and those riffs into your head by just sheer overload. Is, I think, something that probably doesn't happen too much anymore, and it kind of shows. I think overall, but I think there might be a few out there that are still dig deep and just learn all the material, go to the studio, record it, and then it's always there.
I see that you're a fan of BC Rich guitars. I am myself, actually, and I also like Ibanez. What type of gear do you like to use to create your sound?
Well, I use right now BC Rich guitars. I've been using them for years. At one point, I had an endorsement with them. Things kind of went, the way of the crow. They got bought out, and BC Rich kind of was the thing of the past. And new representation, it just didn't work out. So it doesn't matter. I still use the guitars. I still love the brand. So I use the BC Rich guitars. I use EMG pickups. I guess you could call me a stereotypical metal guy. I got a couple of triple rectifiers right here and some Mesa gear, and I don't run any sort of noise gates in between me and the guitar or the guitar and the amp. It's just kind of straight through, pretty basic. I use Vader cabinets with Celestion 100-watt cabinet or speakers. I don't have a very elaborate rig, but then again, the music doesn't require it. I don't need a clean channel. I don't need a neck pickup. I don't need any of this stuff. I'm a real rhythm-driven guy, and I keep it simple, especially when you're on the road. It can be such a pain in the ass if you've got a very elaborate rig that's your signature sound.
That's really cool. Are there any bands that you haven't toured with that you would like to tour with?
Oh man, many, of course. We've never toured with Cryptopsy or Marduk or Dark Funeral. I'd really like to tour with, and there's a lot of buddies bands that I'd like to tour with. I'd like to get out there on the road with Vitriol, and I'd like to get out on the road with. There's so many, man. You just can't really do all these tours, especially in this day and age. Unfortunately, it's just kind of coming back. I don't know if it's ever going to be back to full swing in my career. Lecherous, I feel, is kind of on the tail end of its career. We've been around since '97. It's been a long ride. Who knows how many more albums are out there for us, but we just keep putting out the music as long as it stays genuine and feels authentic. Then you'll still hear from us. But 25 years, it's a long time.
It is a long time for sure. Which song by Lecherous Nocturne would you consider your favorite?
Man, that's a good question, but I don't really spend a lot of time listening to Lecherous, to be honest with you. If I had to pick a song out of all of them, it'd probably be Edict of Worms off of Age of Miracles Is Past. I feel like that's a lot of fun to play. Gets the point across. I think it's kind of emblematic, if you will, of our sound, of our writing. So that's one of my favorites.
Cool. If you could bring back one dead musician, who would you bring back?
Jeff Hanneman.
That basically sums that up. Yeah, Jeff Hanneman, he was amazing. Most definitely.
One of my biggest influences for sure. Slayer, of course, huge. But Jeff, most of all for me. Unfortunately, I think no Jeff, no Slayer. It's my humble opinion, but Jeff Hanneman would have been that clear answer for me.
Do you have a career outside of the music?
I do. I own a business called Cottonmouth Smoke. Here we go. I'm wearing a fancy shirt right here. It's a head shop, smoke shop. Just been around for 10 months or so now. Before that, I toured with Marshall Tucker as like their merch guy and sold shirts across the country, and that was a lot of fun. Those guys are amazing, and met a lot of cool people that I would have never been in contact had I not done that. But 5 years before that, man, I basically sold guitars and was a sales guy at Guitar Center for many years until they totally shit the bed. And the company's in a very bad position right now. But, outside of that, I've always just kind of taken what I thought I could be able to tour with and revolve around the band. The 90s weren't very conducive for that. And not very many jobs were available for that, so kind of took what you could get.
Very cool. Well, I can't think of anything else, Chris. Do you have any last words for Underground Noise?
Absolutely. Hey, man, I really appreciate you reaching out and taking an interest in what Lecherous, Nocturne, and I do. And I really think that's killer. You guys seem to be doing this with a lot of bands, so keep it up, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Fucking shred. A shred a day keeps the murder a day. Down to
Well, before I forget, the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But in that case, does the apple need to be rotten?
Yeah. Apple stays rotten, my friend. It stays rotten. Keep it up, man. I appreciate you reaching out, and fucking stay metal. Salute.
Every day, bro. Thank you.
Talk to you later, bud. Thank you.
Later. You're welcome.
Bye.